Thank you, Sags. Good evening once again, and we have two sides here with a very contrasting mindset. Hull City are at risk of becoming only the third team to tumble from the Premier League straight into League One. Swindon Town and Wolverhampton Wanderers were the others, of course. Sunderland may join them in that unwanted feat this season, whereas Sheffield United could be heading in the other direction. And it was Southampton, led by Nigel Adkins, who were the last team to go straight up from the third tier into the top flight of English football back in 2012. And it's a big ask for Chris Wilder to complete that back-to-back promotion, but after a difficult spell either side of Christmas, Neil, they look to be a side again who have found their mojo.
Yeah, they do. And I'm just looking at both sides now, just limbering up before the start of the game and before the kick-off, and I'm just looking for Hull City. They need to start really well tonight. You know, they need to get the confidence from a good start. They can get an early goal, then good for them, because you just know this Sheffield United side is going to come right out the blocks. Every time we've seen them, they played exactly the same way. They're very front foot. They'll be in your face straight away. They'll play forward when they can, and they test you. So it's going to be a big test for Hull City tonight.
A reminder of the two sides once again. Hull City, McGregor in goal, Aina, Clark, Dawson, McDonald and Larson, Irvin, Bowen, Diamande, Evandro and Dicko. Sheffield United, Blackman, Basham, Stearman and O'Connell, Baldock, Fleck, Leonard, Evans and Stevens, Clark and Sharp. And the football weekend is underway here on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. Hull City in their tiger stripes, amber and black, playing from right to left in the first half. Sheffield United in their chain strip of all white, and looking around the KCOM Stadium, the home terraces and the home seating fairly sparsely populated, and the first chant we hear of the evening is "We want Alam out." The Hull City supporters are not letting up as Dawson on the far side steps in ahead of Sharp, who recovers to make the block, and it spins away for a throw-in to Hull City on the far side.
Just looking at the lineups there, Nigel, it looks like Hull City have gone with the back four. Looks like a 4-4-1-1 at this moment in time. I might be wrong, but that's how it looks. Maybe gone for a little bit more conventional in two banks of four.
Headed down the line by Aina, one of the three youngsters on loan from Chelsea. But Tamori and Hector are both on the bench this evening. Laid back by Bowen, who has been the one shining light in this Hull City side. It's quickly played up towards the halfway line. Noah Dicko is able to turn, and he's done well to play it infield towards Sebastian Larsson, but it's a poor ball from him, and he sold Clark short. And coming forward for Sheffield United is Baldock. Infield up towards the edge of the penalty area, and Ryan Leonard, the player signed from Southend United during the transfer window, he's quickly closed down, and it will be a throw-in to Sheffield United on this near side. They now have a free kick following the challenge by Diamande on Basham, and really that carelessness from Larson there almost cost Clark and cost Hull City.
Yeah, he did, but it just shows you how front foot Baldock is there. He read the danger so well, and he broke, and he's carried the ball 20-30 yards into Hull City territory, and it came off the back of quite a bright start from Hull, but you know they're going to have to defend well from this free kick now.
And it's wide on this near side. Fleck may whip the ball in, but instead it's Evans with a high cross in, but the referee has seen something, Simon Hooper, and he's given the free kick to Hull City. And of course the KCOM Stadium is still a Premier League venue in terms of its infrastructure and the state of this ground, but there are a number of empty black seats all around this stadium. The top tier of the main stand in which we're sat is completely empty, apart from a few journalists and press men and the television people. And the bulk of the vocal Hull City support are at the West Park end away to our left-hand side. And there were a couple of hundred of them in the park before the game, venting their spleen against the owners, and that has continued since they've arrived inside the stadium. 3 minutes played on TalkSport 2. It is Hull City 0, Sheffield United 0. Hull start this game outside the bottom three on goal difference alone, ahead of Burton. Barnsley are a further point back, and Sunderland bottom of the table on 26 points, currently 3 behind Hull City. Sheffield United at the other end of the table are 2 points behind Bristol City, and if they win this game they will be back inside the top 6. And it was a convincing win for the Blades back in November when Leon Clark scored all 4 goals in the second half, as Sheffield United came from behind to win 4-1. Aina brings it forward now for Hull down the right. A low scuffed cross into the penalty area. It's controlled and cleared away by Lee Evans. Long downfield. Sharp will chase, but Dawson gets there first and plays it back towards Alan McGregor, wearing all deep blue, defending the Hull City goal away to our left-hand side. He plays it further wide towards Larson, and it's sliced out of play for a throw into Sheffield United.
Yeah, really interesting there. As that ball gets played forward, how Sharp and Clark react to it. Onto it straight away, putting the Hull City back forward under pressure. And as that ball gets played to the left back, I think it's Baldock that comes out the traps, and he's pressing as well. You know, it's really indicative of how Sheffield United play.
And Billy Sharp is back in the Sheffield United side. He had a spell on the sidelines, had a really good start to the season, really mirroring how the team played as a whole in the autumn. But Leon Clark has been the mainstay, and the likes of Clayton Donaldson have also been used alongside him. But it's the partnership which helped Sheffield United out of League One last season, Clark and Sharp, who are in tandem again here this evening as a Hull City attack comes to nothing on this near side. And now Lee Evans, another January signing for Chris Wilder from Wolves. He's played it further wide towards O'Connell, and now the opportunity for the Irishman Mendes Stevens to break down the left-hand side. Fleck with a low cross into the penalty area, and there's a spectacular diving header at the near post. It's Dawson to divert the ball behind for a corner to Sheffield United.
Yeah, amazing how quickly Sheffield United get bodies forward. I counted 7 bodies in and around that Hull City box as they won the corner. That ball ricochets out for a corner. They flood forward when they get good possession. It's a good example of that there.
5 minutes played on Talk Sport 2. 0-0 at the KCOM Stadium. Evans will take the corner on the far side. It's swept in high to the far post, beyond everybody, and out for a goal kick. And with the amount of height and bulk Sheffield United have inside the penalty area, that's a bit of a waste.
Yeah, not the best delivery, to be fair. It's not the area that Sheffield United want the ball played in. A little bit flatter, a little bit more across the near post would have been more the order of the day, I would have thought. But
Hull losing by 3-1 at Middlesbrough on Tuesday. Although, as we heard from Nigel Adkins before the game, he believed his side gave a good account of themselves. Here is Noah Dicko twisting and turning and evading Richard Stearman, and he's brought Aina into the play on the far side, the right. Plenty of space to deliver the cross, which is over the head of Evandro. It breaks back towards Evandro, and he's shot low towards the near post, blocked by the legs of Blackman. Now Aina once again, a chance to cross into the penalty area, wide on the right-hand side. Back towards Larson. It's in onto the chest of Diamande. Then Evandro challenging Dicko with the effort at the near post, ripples the side netting.
I tell you, a good bit of play there from Hull City. It's a great ball in the box, and what they do ever so well is they keep it alive. It's a Noah Dicko who has started really brightly in this game so far. It's looking dangerous, and it's probably the first best opening of the game so far.
And Noah Dicko could end up playing for sides who've been promoted and relegated this season. He was signed from Wolves back in August. Of course, he's had his injury problems, but I think he's a decent championship centre forward.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely. He would get in most championship sides, I would have thought. You know, he's definitely got the quality and he's got the pace that hurts people.
Here is Fleck now with a shot, low, bouncing into the arms of his fellow Scot, Alan McGregor, from the edge of the penalty area for Sheffield United. McGregor's clearance, a drop kick, is a poor one, straight towards this near side and Baldock, but he's quickly robbed by Sebastian Larson, and Clark clears long downfield for Hull City, flicked on by Dicko, but neither Evandro or Diamande were able to make the run, and it's cleared away up towards the halfway line by Basham. But a lively start to this game. 7.5 minutes played on Talk Sport 2. Billy Sharp looks for the free kick as he's challenged by McDonald, and now Fleck has a partial wrestling match with Bowen, and Hull City come away with the ball. Jackson Irvine wide towards the far side, and Aina, and now back again towards Michael Dawson, who must be wondering what he's doing, playing at the wrong end of the championship, a player who has been in the top flight for so many years, both with Hull City and Tottenham Hotspur. Now Dawson again swings it wide towards this near side, looking for Adama Diamande, but it's quickly cut out by Baldock, knocked down the line by Leonard, and Sharp really has the taste for it tonight, harassing the central defenders. He's challenged by McDonald on this occasion, and it's a corner kick to Sheffield United on this near side.
Yeah, good pressure by Billy Sharp, something we've got accustomed to now. Doesn't give the defenders a minute, and he forces the corner, and it has been end to end so far. It's been a really good game of football.
And it's a corner which Fleck will take with 8.5 minutes played. Evans offers him the shorter option, but Fleck will look to swirl this ball high into the penalty area. Plenty of height waiting at the far post once again, but it's a low, scuffed effort which doesn't beat the first man, which is so frustrating for a manager, coach or player. And in the end, all Evans can do is knock it back towards Blackman.
Yeah, it's a poor ball in, to be fair. He's got to do better than that. You've got to miss the first man out. As soon as you miss the first man out, you're in business, but that got nowhere near missing him out.
Challenge on the far side made by Leon Clark, and the ball eventually diverts away off a Hull City player. It will be a throw in to Sheffield United, but Hull City have had the clear-cut chances in the game so far. The effort from Evandro blocked by the legs of Blackman before the return from Dicko hit the side netting. Now Clark with a clever ball wide to the far side, and Stevens, the early ball into the area, is knocked away by Dawson. Clark unable to control on the chest on the edge of the penalty area, and eventually it drifts into the path of Dicko, who was off and running for Hull City on the far side, the right. He is completely isolated, and all he can do in the end is swing across into the area, and there was no other Hull City player inside the box, but it's retrieved by Diamande. A low ball in from him from the left-hand side, and eventually it's gathered by Evans, and Sheffield United will be able to clear.
Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons they are where they are, because there's a distinct lack of effort to get up with Dicko there. Broke ever so quickly. I know he's quick, but the midfield players, particularly people like Irving, who's got an eye for goal, they've got to get up and beyond him and with him. You know, it's a great ball across the goal, and there's not another Hull City player within sight.
And TalkSport 2 has teamed up with Sky Sports to tell you about the dedicated Sky Sports football channel with football from around the globe, including the EFL, SPFL, La Liga and more. Feel it all with Sky Sports. The Sheffield United have the ball again in a dangerous area. It's Leonard with a low right-footed shot, but he was always off balance and never really seemed set for it after he was fouled by Fleck, and it scoots wide for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's a difficult ball to strike, to be fair. It's rolling away from him across the goal. You know, he's got to get his body shape right round that ball and angle it back across, and he never looked confident when he was striking it.
But Hull City never really had the new manager bounce under Nigel Adkins when he took over just before Christmas. He did win his first game against Brentford, but Diamande brings it forward and finds Noah Dicko, but the referee has brought play back, and I think that's good refereeing, because there was an earlier challenge on Diamande, and the Norwegian may require some treatment here, but it's a free kick to Hull City in a dangerous area.
I do think Hull have looked quite bright going forward when they've countered. They've definitely got pace in the side. They've got something in them. I think the fact that they have changed shape from what they played in the last game has maybe thrown Sheffield United a little bit. You know, with two banks of four and one just in behind, one up top. And they've got box to box really quickly, and I think that they maybe sniff the fact that there might be a chance here at the other end.
Well, it's a curious stat that they are so low in the table, but only Wolves and Villa have scored more goals at home, but the bulk of those did come earlier in the season when Leonard Slutsky was in charge. Larsson is over the free kick, and he's got the opportunity to whip this ball in right-footed, high towards the near post area, and he tries to catch Blackman out, and he wasn't too far away from doing so, but it's gone behind for a goal kick.
I tell you what, that's a great effort, and to be fair to Blackman, he gets right across the goal and he has it covered. But what a fantastic strike. That wasn't a million miles away.
12 minutes played on TalkSport 2 on the home of the EFL at the KCOM Stadium in the East Riding of Yorkshire, and it's Hull City 0, Sheffield United 0. Nigel Adkins' overall record so far as Hull City manager: 1-2, drawn 4 and lost 6 in the league. Although that defeat at Middlesbrough was the first one they've endured with a margin of defeat greater than 1 goal. Things have been tightened up after some rather cavalier games under Leonard Slutsky, when they scored 6 here against Birmingham, and also enjoyed thumping wins 4 apiece against Burton and Bolton. But a leaky defence has also been their problem as well, as Irving does well to win the ball down this near side, the ponytailed Australian. Now Larsson with a long ball down the line, and Dicko will never shirk his fair share of work, and he challenges George Baldock, and it will be a throw-in to Hull City on this near side.
Yeah, just a great example there, Nigel, of two strikers playing together for a long time this season, where Clark came in short and just turned the ball around the corner blind, and he knew where Billy Sharp was automatically, and that only comes with playing together and with games and understanding, and they've done it really well this season, I have to say.
Were you surprised that Billy Sharp was left out for a spell?
I was, yeah. I mean, listen, I know how passionate Billy is, and that'll have hurt him. But I know he's a good pro, and I know he's capable of coming back and getting goals. But he's done it the right way around. He's kept going, and Sheffield United have reaped the rewards for it.
Ainer's ball into the area. It's headed away by Baldock, but it's quickly returned towards Diamande, who was tumbling even before the ball had reached him, and as a result the referee not interested in giving any sort of decision, as Irvin hooks it wide to this near side. Larson plays it back towards Clark, and here is Angus MacDonald, a January signing from Barnsley for Hull City, and then eventually it's cleared long downfield by McGregor. Again, Dicko does well to, if not win the ball cleanly, pressurise the central defender, but there's not really enough happening around him. And Evandro, of course the player who was signed during the Premier League days last season, scored his first goal for Hull City on Tuesday, but he's had difficulty getting into the game at times tonight, as Fleck brings it clear now for Sheffield United. Clark infield towards the edge of the penalty area. Leonard with another effort from long range, which was blocked by MacDonald, and eventually is played all the way back by Basham towards Blackman.
Yeah, they definitely don't like the presence of Dicko up there. There's no two ways about that, Sheffield United. I think the fact that he's so quick and he has that pace and he runs just as quick with the ball as he does without it, I think it's definitely unnerved the back three of Sheffield United.
Sheffield United have won a throw-in on this near side, but not before the referee just has a word with Jackson Irvine and then books the Australian. He can often be a combustible character, but he scored the goals which helped to keep Burton in the Championship last season, which was an incredible achievement when you consider the size of that club and the budget available to Nigel Clough. But he was sold on at the start of this season, and now he is facing another relegation battle as Leon Clark lays it off wide to the far side, and Stevens, and Sheffield United neat and tidy once again, but Hull City are pressing quite high and pressing quite hard, and they've won the ball well midway inside the Sheffield United half. Dicko with the effort from the angle after he was found well by Evandro, and it whizzes over the top into the Hull City fans behind the goal.
Yeah, it's great pressure. Took a chance at the back there, Sheffield United, particularly with the back three, and they get robbed in possession, and it ends up at Dicko's feet, and I just think he could have kept the heat on that back three there and kept it alive in the box, and he chose to shoot, which took the pressure off him as it rose over the bar and harmlessly wide for a goal kick.
Sheffield United have won their last two games, but really they've been repairing the damage after a very poor spell either side of Christmas. Of course, they were terrific in the autumn when they had that spell of 11 wins and only 4 defeats when they were top of the table at the end of October, but that remarkable 5-4 defeat at home to Fulham, when both Ryan Sessegnon and Leon Clark both scored hat-tricks, really derailed their form, and since then it's only been 4 wins, 4 draws and 7 defeats. But they will believe they are coming out of their becalmed spell after some very poor results at home, as Sheffield United try and build on the far side with Stevens again, but it's Irvine who makes the challenge at the expense of a throw-in by the corner flag with 17 minutes played.
Yeah, it's definitely end-to-end. It's got good quality about it. It's got the endeavour and the aggression and competitiveness of the Championship, which we've come to expect, but there is real quality in there as well.
And here's an opportunity for Sheffield United. It was a burst into the penalty area made by Fleck, and nobody for Hull City reacted to that run from the throw-in, and he was just unable to control the ball on his thigh 6 yards out and fire the ball in towards goal.
You just can't believe how loose Hull City were from that throw-in. It was just far too easy to get it into him, right inside the box. It's a real shooting opportunity.
But Hull City do tend to be loose at times. They've lost here 3-2 on 3 different occasions, which shows they always give themselves a chance in a game, but more often than not they usually lose it. And they conceded 5 at Derby County, the game we covered over on TalkSport at the start of the season, and that was one of the worst collective performances I've ever seen at this level. I think Leonid Slutsky apologised about 25 times in a 3-minute interview afterwards, but of course he has now departed, and Nigel Adkins has been given the rescue job, as Dicko does well again to rise above Stearman, but he can't win the header cleanly this time, and Evandro is penalised for a tug back on Leonard, and it's a free kick to Sheffield United just inside their own half.
Yeah, just a little bit of a lull in the game now, where both sides have sort of turned one another around and forced one or two efforts at goal, but they can be pleased with the way they've started, Hull City, because this Sheffield United side, they usually get the noses in front early on in games, and while it's 0-0, they're doing okay.
And Nigel Adkins, very, very animated on the edge of his technical area, urging his players forward to try and get them to press. And now we have our first protest of the evening, and tennis balls are raining down inside the penalty area, being defended by Jamal Blackman away to our left hand side. We have seen this before at Hull City this season in the game against Nottingham Forest, and there must be 40 or 50 tennis balls inside that penalty area, and play has been stopped while the stewards start to clear things away. We were led to believe there would be a cacophony of whistles to signal the displeasure of the Hull City supporters during the game, but at the start at least it has been tennis balls inside the penalty area, and the play's been stopped.
Nigel, they're coming from everywhere as well now. There's a few being thrown here down towards the Sheffield United players just above the technical area, and the stewards having to kick the rest off the field. From the point of view of 20 minutes into a game here as well, you've just got your second breath, you're just getting into a game on a cold night tonight, and you've all got to come to the side here for a couple of minutes. I don't know why the Hull City fans thinks this is clever for their side, who are enjoying a good spell.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is coordinated, obviously, because they've done it behind the goal away to our left, and now it's happening on the stand on the far side. Of course, the television cameras here tonight as well means that there will be a visible presence of this protest.
And there is a banner which says "Alam out" on the far side, which has been unfurled over the advertising hoardings. 3 stewards tried to pull it away from the supporters, but the supporters held on, and now the stewards are walking away. Another steward is heading across to the fans on the far side. And, well, if a fan wants to put a banner out saying "Alam out," in terms of democracy, Mark, what do you think?
Well, as long as it's peaceful protest, but which that part is. But if they've also been throwing those sponge balls, and there's more, there's another 1 or 2 coming on now, and it only needs one of those that suddenly drifted into the field of play. They're coming on again, and one of these players
could get injured,
to stand on it, and ligament damage, and that just got to wait. And I think the ref, I don't know what. Well, they've got back underway here, so back with Nige and with Neil on Talk Sport 2 after that drama. Remember, it's at 30 minutes we're due this whistling protest, which seems to have already started.
Yeah,
well, maybe that was a decoy.
There's a time and a place to protest, isn't there? It's such a shame. Such a shame.
Well, there was no doubting that the Hull City supporters love their club, they love what their club stands for, and they love the team, but they don't love the owners, and this is why we have a situation which is basically toxic, and you cannot see a way it will be solved unless the owners leave, and that doesn't look like happening.
Well, like Mark said, I mean, how this helps the players and the manager, I don't know.
But maybe they think there's something bigger than this game, and maybe this season.
Well, perhaps, but they don't want to be doing it in the division below. That's the argument, I would have thought.
Well, the anti-Alam chanting continues, mainly from behind the goal away to our left-hand side, which is where the bulk of the tennis balls came from. But here is Diamande looking to burst forward now for Hull City towards the edge of the penalty area. He found Evandro. Diamande has gone down and he is injured. It looks to be a problem with his Achilles, and Hull City are down to 10 men at the moment as Bowen tries to make headway towards the edge of the penalty area, and Diamande is still down, and there are 2 or 3 balls which have been thrown on, still inside that penalty area away to our left hand side, and the stewards are trying to clear them away, and Diomande is a passenger at the moment, and eventually the referee has penalised Nua Dicko for a push as he'd look to move forward, and Diomande may be able to get some treatment.
Yeah, I think that came from that block. I think it was Fleck that he had the block tackle with Diomande. It was a strong challenge, and he actually did ever so well and rode the challenge and flicked the ball inside to Dicko, but he's obviously felt the full force of it. Looks like his ankle ligaments. At first, when I flashed back, I thought he might have fallen on trod on one of the tennis balls, but they're all off the pitch now.
Well, we've seen similar scenes at Charlton, of course, in recent years, where they've thrown on various, well, I won't call them missiles, but various things they've been thrown onto the field. Blackpool fans have also made their protests known in a variety of ways against the Oyston family over the last couple of years. And you look at what happened to those teams during those seasons. The teams usually weren't successful. Blackpool getting promotion from League Two was a real exception to prove the rule last season, but Hull City look to be a club at odds with their supporters at the moment. Well, they are, and as a result the form is suffering, and they could be heading for back-to-back relegations. But do the fans care about that? That's the big question.
Well, I mean, I just think, Nigel, the problem for the players is that when they come and play at this ground, their home ground, it just reminds them of all that. You know, they need reminding of the positive things. You know, and I understand the supporters' frustrations with the owner and what's happening, but I just think there's a time and a place, and I just think that the football's got to be sacrosanct. It's important that their side stays in the division. They've got to turn it round somehow. If Alam, the owner, disappeared tomorrow, and a new owner came in, then they've still got to try and stay up. So why not try and get it right now?
25 minutes played, but of course we will have 2 or 3 minutes of added time for that delay caused by the protest. It is still Hull City 0, Sheffield United 0 here on TalkSport 2, as Larson plays it wide to this near side, and Clark, an early ball clipped down the line on the left, looking for Diomande. He was making only his second start of the season for Hull City, but it's beyond him, and it's gathered by Blackman, defending the Sheffield United goal away to our left-hand side. And of course Jamal Blackman is another player on loan from Chelsea. We have that club represented across both sides here tonight. Now Clark dabs it in field, but he's unable to pick out Ryan Leonard for Sheffield United. Irvin forward now towards Dicko again, but a good challenge coming in from O'Connell, and now Sharp finds Fleck, who tries to thread it back towards Sharp again, but it's quickly cut out by the Hull City midfield, and Jared Bowen has been given some room to turn on the halfway line for Hull City. Plays a rather dangerous ball across the field, but this time Clark was able to step in ahead of Bulldog and maintain possession, but it was only a partial thing for Hull City, and eventually Richard Stamen plays it back towards Blackman.
Yeah, I think it's actually disrupted Sheffield United's flow a little bit as well. I mean, they're usually far more fluent than this. The passing's been a little bit hit and miss. They've shown some good qualities and good moments, but they've shown some moments when the passing's been tatty as well, and it's not in keeping with how they play.
Another long ball forward from Sheffield United. There was a bit of a mismatch there between Billy Sharp and Michael Dawson. Dawson heads the way. Now Clark with the early ball forward, and there's another strong run from Dicko heading towards the corner flag on this near side. It's been tracked by O'Connell. Back though towards Diomande. But Hull City are rather laboured as they look for options moving further forward. Clark now swings a high ball into the penalty area. Only Jared Bowen was waiting, but it's beyond him, and it's gone behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, it's like you said, Nigel, it's just too predictable at this moment in time. There's not the pace and the cut and thrust of the run. It's a striker getting hold of it, checking out, the ball going back, play being built up, and Sheffield United being allowed to recover.
27 and a half minutes played on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, tomorrow we have more live and exclusive commentary from the Premier League. It is Bournemouth against Newcastle at 3 o'clock. There's a couple more of the fluorescent balls are thrown onto the field, not too far away from Jamal Blackman. He just retrieves them and rather contemptuously tosses them behind the goal. 5:30 on TalkSport tomorrow from the Premier League. Watford against Everton. But a huge day across the network on Sunday. I'll be alongside Daniel Gabardon at the Cardiff City Stadium for Cardiff against Bristol City on TalkSport 2 at noon, followed by Manchester United against Chelsea on TalkSport at 2:05, and then at 4:30 it's the Carabao Cup final on TalkSport, Arsenal against Manchester City. 28 minutes played here, still 0-0, and the atmosphere is rather strange inside this stadium. It's almost as if those who aren't protesting are waiting to see what will happen next.
I know it's an obvious thing to say this, Nigel, but if ever a game needed a goal, I think it's this one. You know, I think both sides have often started quite well. You know, both been solid enough, but just a lack of creativity and a little lack of quality in the final third from both teams.
Both managers out on the edge of their technical area, and Chris Wilder looking to complete the full set of promotions to all 4 English divisions if he can take Sheffield United into the Premier League this season. Neil Warnock is the only manager to have achieved that previously, and of course he did part of that with Sheffield United. And Nigel Adkins looking to really rebuild his managerial career. Of course, he had such a great start with Scunthorpe and then back-to-back promotions with Southampton, but he was replaced by Maurizio Pochettino, and since then disappointing spells at Reading and Sheffield United when they finished mid-table in League One, and he spent some time out of the game before coming back to Hull City, and he's inherited a very difficult situation on and off the field. Dawson goes all the way back towards Alan McGregor, and throughout this Hull City team there are players who have played international football or had long spells in the Premier League, and sometimes you wonder if they're equipped to maybe face a relegation battle in the Championship, where it's a completely different environment.
Well, that's right. I mean, to be fair to Hull City tonight, there's been no lack of effort, I have to say. They've competed well. They look like they lack a little bit of confidence in the final third. Sheffield United, they've often puffed it. I mean, it's a typical Championship game at this moment in time, but I just think the thing that's missing is that little bit of quality in the final third from both sides.
And here come the whistles. We were promised them on the half hour, and the Hull City supporters are now creating their second protest of the game. Shrill whistles all around the KCOM Stadium as their team try to build. And the Sheffield United fans, who have come in good numbers, there must be 1,500 to 2,000 on the far side, must really be wondering what they're watching and what they're part of. As Bulldog tries to swing across into the penalty area down this near side, the right, and it's headed away by Clark, and it will be a throw-in to Sheffield United, about 10 yards from the corner flag, down their right. Bulldog takes it, then receives it back from Leonard, drives the ball into the penalty area, then he finds Fleck, who will try and turn and deliver something high to the far post. Fleck's cross is blocked, it comes back towards the Scot again, now Basham, square towards Evans, and all the way back towards O'Connell, who is rampaging forward now from a central area for Sheffield United. Evans swings the high ball in towards the far post, Basham wins the header, and the shot from Bulldog was initially spilled at the first attempt by McGregor before he hangs on.
Yeah, great bit of play by Sheffield United. They keep the ball alive ever so well. They move the ball across the box, switch it out from right to left, and it's knocked down ever so well by Baldock, and it's a good strike in the end and saved well by McGregor at the near post.
Well, the whistles did not quite have the impact of the tennis balls as far as the protests are concerned, as Clark finds Evandro, the shaven-headed Brazilian, signed from Porto last season when, of course, Marco Silva was trying to help steer Hull City to safety. Of course, they were relegated following that 4-0 defeat at Crystal Palace, but already, Neil, Hull's time in the Premier League, it feels a long time ago.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I think there's been so much happened at the club. I mean, I think that is the big thing. I think people have probably forgotten about the football, but it is a football club, and it's important that the football is a strong focal point of what's happening here. It's important that the supporters remember that, because whatever happens going forward, the club will always be here, and it's important that they're playing in the highest division that they can be in.
Leonard plays it forward towards Sharp on the edge of the penalty area for Sheffield United, clipped high to the far post. Fleck knew that Stevens was coming forward on the overlap, and he gathers now back towards Fleck again, who was challenged by Aina. And Sheffield United not quite making the most of that, but O'Connell has now given the ball away to Aina. An early ball forward looking for Dicko, but this time a good defensive header from Stearman. And Sheffield United have looked better on the ball at times, but they're just lacking that snap and incisiveness in the final third, as Basham's ball forward now is cut up by Larson, but he may get a second bite at the cherry. Here is Baldock down the right-hand side, on towards Basham again, who clips it back from the byline, high into the penalty area, but it rather drifts in towards the near post, and it's gathered by McGregor.
Yeah, I think we've got to give Hull City a bit of credit here as well, Nige. I think they've, the two banks of four have doubled up and made it difficult for the Blades. They've forced them into areas where they don't want to go. They've made them predictable at times. I think Nigel Atkins can be pleased with the way he's set his side up. But obviously the position that they're in at this moment in time, they need a threat in front of goal as well, and I think they need a little bit more support to get up and around Dicko.
Well, Hull have been promoted and relegated 3 times from the Premier League, and they do have a reputation as a yo-yo club. Only one season in the last 5 has not ended in either promotion or relegation, and that's also been the case in 8 of the last 14 years. Of course, they rode up the divisions on a wave of optimism into the Premier League, and have bobbed between the Premier League and the Championship since, but this season may be different. But here is Dicko, wide on the right-hand side. Again, he's isolated. He does everything right, then looks up, and there is no tiger-striped shirt anywhere near him. Eventually he gets support from Evandro, but he just helps it down the channel right-hand side, and it's cut out by O'Connell. Now Irvin, the one player booked in the game so far, finding McDonald and then further square towards Clark, and Hull City look to build as we head towards the final 10 minutes of the first half on TalkSport 2, and it remains goalless, and it's been rather tepid fare at times as Clark is penalised for a push just inside the Sheffield United half, and the Blades will have a free kick.
Yeah, that was a great example there, Nigel, of Dicko breaking with his pace, like you're saying, just the sheer lack of support. Just content to stay in the two banks of four and not break from there. They've got to be a little bit more adventurous than that if they're going to get themselves on the score sheet.
Ryan Leonard was the player who was fouled. Maybe slightly winded, but he's able to carry on. And Sheffield United have a free kick. But Hull City have had the best chance so far early in the game. The effort from Evandro, which was blocked by the legs of Blackman. Evans with the free kick now, flat and high towards the edge of the penalty area, but Hull are able to clear without too much difficulty. Now Evandro, and a good ball from him to find Irvin. Irvin now slides in Dicko, who is into the penalty area down the left hand side. A high cross from him is headed away by Basham, but quickly controlled again by Clark, but his first touch was rather heavy, and Basham was able to knock the ball off Clark and away for a throw into Sheffield United on this near side.
You see, in this system, this 3-5-2 which Sheffield United play, that is where they're vulnerable, and it's the first time they've really got, well, on this side definitely, where they've got Dicko down the sides, and he's got onto that ball with his pace, and it's not a bad ball across with his left foot, but again, lack of numbers, and Hull City can't keep the ball alive around the box.
Evandro back towards Clark, and now Dicko finding Evandro again, and the Brazilian meanders towards the corner flag and then produces a very good cross, and the attempt at goal from Bowen was blocked, but here is an opportunity for Larson to fire one, and it's blocked again. Now Bowen had the chance to play at Evandro, but tried to go himself onto his right foot and headed into the crowd, and his shot eventually bobbled away on the far side and out of play for a throw into Sheffield United.
I can't understand why he's not just played Evandro in there. It's such an obvious pass to just slide him down the side. He would have been in on goal on his left foot, but he's chose to go back into traffic and crowded out. Chance gone. 37
and a half minutes played on TalkSport 2, the home of the EFL. And it's still goalless between Hull City and Sheffield United. And the game has been rather shapeless at times, and that has very much been the case since the protest which created the delay after about 25 minutes when the tennis balls were thrown onto the pitch, mainly from behind the goal away to our left. Now Evandro, but it's a sweet turn from him to evade the cover, but three white shirts very quickly converged on him. But here is Irvin. He's now played it into the penalty area. The shot across the face of goal from Bowen is deflected and then cleared by Evans. A long ball forward from him, looking for Sharp. It's blocked by Aina, but it's quickly recovered, and Sheffield United look to break themselves now. But Sharp's ball wide towards Fleck on the far side was slightly behind him. But here is Evans finding Fleck, and you just get the feeling that with one good ball, Sharp and Clark could be in for Sheffield United.
Yeah, they've looked open quite a few times on the counter-attack, Hull City, and they're in that racing start position where they're on the sides of the centre-backs looking to go in behind, but they've just not had the quality to get themselves free.
Fleck plays it wide to the far side, and Stevens, who has been caught by Irvin, and he is the one player on a yellow card so far in the game, and there's no second one.
Yeah, it looked like a tired challenge, that, to be fair. He's actually put quite a shift in today, Irvin. He's closing down well. But thinking back to his time at Burton, we saw him as a goal-scoring midfield player that popped up in the box and gave him the energy, and he looks a different animal in this Hull City side.
Well, he's scored once so far for Hull City. That came in Nigel Adkins' first game, a win against Brentford. Although he did score here for Burton earlier in the season when he was also sent off. Fleck with the free kick high into the penalty area. Aina with the header away, who then maybe landed rather awkwardly, and he's just limping across the penalty area as Sheffield United settle for a throw-in down this near side. Baldock will take it. Leonard comes short, and the Sheffield United midfield really still missing the presence of Paul Coots through injury. He was their best midfielder in the early stages of the season, then suffered what may prove to be a season-ending injury, and although collectively they've done pretty well since, he just gave them something different, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. And just the type of player that he is an infectious type of player. He makes people get about and close down. Is very indicative of how Sheffield United plays with that energy and that drive. And they're going to miss him. You know, they've had successful times with him in there in midfield, got promotion with him in there. It's important that they get him back as soon as they can.
Now, Chris Wilder has not changed his team on too many occasions, and the system, of course, always stays the same, and the back three as well of Basham, Stearman and O'Connell has been pretty well set, although Cameron Carter-Vickers, on loan from Tottenham, did start the season, but of course he's since gone back to Tottenham and is now on loan at Ipswich. 4 minutes to play plus added time at the end of the first half on TalkSport 2. It's still goalless on a freezing night at the KCOM Stadium, the temperature hovering around freezing point, and there has not been too much so far to really warm those fans interested in the football here. As Irvin dabs it forward on the far side, Dicko will try and win it back, but here is Stevens with the early ball forward for Sheffield United. Leon Clark has barely seen the ball moving forward, and he doesn't do so on this occasion. Aina sidesteps Evans, but again, when a Hull City player commits somebody and goes beyond their direct opponent, there is nobody offering support.
Yeah, it's really apparent that they're not prepared to come out of the shape. They want to keep that security, that constant that's keeping them in the game, that's helping them defend. But
they'll only stay up by scoring goals.
Well, the thing is, if Sheffield United get one, I don't know how they're going to come out of that shape and react to that. You know, I think that's going to be the problem for them.
Irvin has been fouled this time by Billy Sharp, and it will be a free kick to Hull City, and a set piece may provide them with the best opportunity to score the opening goal here. Dawson and McDonald are both moving forward. Every player apart from Alan McGregor is inside the Sheffield United half. Larson takes it. Blackman comes all the way out towards the edge of his penalty area, gathers the ball well, and then does well to check and just stay inside the box.
That's positive goalkeeping for you. Confident goalkeeper, came strong. It's a good job he got it right, though. We were right on the edge of his of his penalty box. One more step, and that'd have been a free kick to Hull City.
He just managed to stop where the 20-yard line is for the rugby league game here. We can still see the markings, of course. Hull City share this stadium with Hull FC, the current holders of the Challenge Cup, and it's a real sporting hub in this part of Hull. And while the rugby league team are going well, Hull City are heading in the other direction, but there is still time to sort things out this season. Another long ball forward from Aina, looking for Diamande, and Blackman again out towards the edge of his penalty area, makes a claim under no real pressure. He then clears downfield right-footed. 90 seconds to play in the first half here on TalkSport 2. It is still goalless. Now Baldock moving forward down the right-hand side. Leonard makes the run into the penalty area. He had the reputation as a goal-scoring midfielder in League One with Southend United, and now Baldock has done well to pick out Basham. Basham hooks the cross into the penalty area. It's nodded back in field towards Clark, and now Fleck with the effort, left-footed, not too far away.
Great play by the Blades. It's a great ball in. It's kept alive well, and it's laid off, and it's a good strike. He's kept it down quite well. He's leaning back slightly, but he keeps that down quite well, Fleck, and it's only just clears the bar. A lot better from Sheffield United.
Well, John Fleck's only goal this season came in the derby at Hillsborough when Sheffield United won 4-2 live on TalkSport. And he was left out in midweek as well for the 2-1 success against Queen's Park Rangers. And those two wins against QPR and Leeds have just nudged Sheffield United closer to the top six again. And one goal may be enough to win this game here tonight and put them back into the playoff places. Although, of course, Bristol City play on Sunday, also live on TalkSport 2. And it's a big game as well, away to Cardiff. The game's really taking on more and more meaning the closer we get towards the end of the season. And there are some huge ones in the Championship at both top and bottom this weekend. There'll be 2 minutes of added time at the end of the first half here on TalkSport, as it's headed forward by Clark up towards the edge of the penalty area, and it's controlled by Dawson. And now a long ball forward from him, looking for Diamande, but it's headed away by Basham. And Hull City looking to exert some pressure in first half added time, but there's a real coming together on the halfway line involving Leonard, Evans and Irvine. Irvine was the player fouled, and which one of the Sheffield United players will the referee have a word with?
To be fair to Jackson Irvine there, he does well for the Sheffield United player. Well, I think it's Leonard that he's speaking to, but he just bounces straight back up Irvine. He doesn't make a meal of it. It's a strong hard challenge. I'm not sure it's a nasty challenge. I just think it's a strong, hard, physical challenge. Missed time, and it is a free kick. But Jackson Irvine does ever so well for him there.
It's a free kick for Hull City, which Angus MacDonald will take. And the KCOM Stadium rather eerie at the moment as we head towards half-time. MacDonald's free kick flicked on by Irvine and volleyed clear by Billy Sharp up towards the halfway line, and now it's played forward, the early ball to find Leon Clark. Clark has Leonard steaming forward on the inside down the left, and now Leonard will look to turn beyond Aina and deliver the cross, but it's back towards Fleck. Fleck tries to hit the byline, but Aina does well, and he gets some fortune from the corner flag as well as it strikes it and rebounds to the left, which means it's a throw-in.
Yeah, I think that ball needed to come in first time. As soon as he had the touch, Leonard, the chance had gone to deliver, and it's a good break. It's great awareness from Billy Sharp. Takes the ball across on his chest and just reverses his pass into Clark's path. Again, that understanding that comes with playing together.
Now Stevens with a high ball into the penalty area. Clark at the far post tries to nod it down, and the referee has blown the half-time whistle. And it's been a game of few chances so far. Hull City with the best of them. Evandro's shot blocked by the legs of Jamal Blackman, but really all the steam was taken out of the contest by the protest from the Hull City supporters of throwing on the tennis balls midway through the first half. So as a result, it is goalless at half-time.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, isn't this where this fit and proper person's test has got to be, you know, a proper fit and proper person's test, not the club filling it in and sending it back and saying we're all right, we're hunky-dory. They've got to be made to adhere to a set of rules. You know,
of course, you went with Senor Tolino at Leeds.
Well, you know, for the sake of the supporters and the football clubs and the history of the clubs, and you know, it's got to be a fit and proper person's test. You can't just have any Tom, Dick and Harry coming in that's got a boatload of money and think they can use it as a plaything. It's all wrong.
Well, we are back underway here at the KCOM Stadium. Hull City 0, Sheffield United 0. Hull City in the amber and black stripes, attacking the goal away to our right. Their side is McGregor in goal, Aina, Clark, Dawson, McDonald and Larson, Irvin, Bowen, Diamande, Evandro and Dicko. Sheffield United in all white, Blackman, Basham, Stearman, O'Connell, Baldock, Fleck, Leonard, Evans, Stevens, Clark and Sharp. And Hull City had the best chance in the first half, but Sheffield United probably played the better football. But in the likes of Nua Dicko and maybe Jackson Irvin, there are just the signs that Hull City could create something at the other end. Now Basham forces a handball from Diamande, quickly takes the free kick, and it's wide on the far side for Baldock, and Baldock has skipped away from the challenge of Clark, and he's done well to keep the ball in play. Terrific ball in field to find Billy Sharp. Now Fleck with a drag back, and the shot from Evans blocked by Irvin, and the Australian with probably a goal-saving block there.
Yeah, altogether now, straight away, far more expansive from the blades. They look like they've got the full width of the pitch. They're moving the ball about a lot quicker. They're stretching this Hull City 2 banks of 4, making them work, and they created a great chance there, great opportunity. But to be fair, Hull got bodies back in and blocked the chance.
Well, Hull have tightened things up since the arrival of Nigel Adkins, but the goals also dried up as well. Only 9 in 12 games, and in 7 of those matches they have failed to score. And you contrast that with Leonid Slutsky, when they were beaten here 3-2 on 3 separate occasions. It was a side which, as Neil said before the game, rather lacked an identity. Different elements of football were thrown together at times. Sometimes they did work, but often they didn't. And it's a free kick for Hull City just inside the Sheffield United half, which Dawson will take. A high diagonal ball, right-footed, high to the far post, nodded back in field, but Sheffield United will clear. Here is Sharp, hooks the ball over his shoulder, looking for the runner beyond him, which is Evans, and he's forced Larson back defensively, heading back towards his own goal. Larson slips and then just about finds McGregor, who clears downfield up towards the halfway line. And it could work out here for Hull City. Evandro now with a ball wide to the far side, looking for Diamande, but it's quickly cut out by O'Connell. Fleck now with the early ball forward for Sheffield United, and here is a real opportunity for Sharp to try and deliver a cross. It ricochets back to him. He's supported now by Baldock. A burst into the area down the right. The cross, though, was deflected onto the head of Dawson. He nods down, and Larson will turn and clear.
What a real touch of quality there from Dawson. That defensive header. He could have just gone for height and distance there, but he just steered that down to his teammate Larson. It's a great bit of play. But Sheffield United definitely on the front foot and in the ascendancy this half.
Baldock again down the right. Both the wing backs really love to get forward on what is now a really raw night here on Humberside. I would imagine the mercury is some way below 0, and the wind is whipping in off the east coast as well, as Hull City have a throw-in on the far side, and they have not really shown too much in an attacking sense since half-time. Clark forward, and Basham seemed to miss his header there, but it came off his shoulder, ricocheted across the field, and now Stevens will try and bring it forward for Sheffield United down this near side. Well, he seemed to run the ball out of play, but he was allowed to play on, and Ola Aina eventually wins it back for Hull City. Now with Vandro. A few whistles again from the home supporters as their protests continue to linger from the first half. Irvin has done well to win it back from Evans in the midfield area. Now wide towards this near side in Dicko. Cut back across the face of goal, and it's cleared away by Stearman, and it's a throw into Hull City.
Do you know what, Nigel? I can't help but think that if some of these Hull City players were given a little bit more freedom to go forward from this shape, because they've got a great shape, don't get me wrong, I think he's done ever so well. He's set him up right. Nigel Atkins is strangling the life out of the game, but they've got real quality, and I just can't help thinking if they had that balance of constants and variables when they won the ball to go into the variables and go and get at the blades, then I think there might be a goal in it for them.
Bowen now forward towards Diamande, back towards Bowen again, who looked to pick his way through a number of bodies, and eventually it breaks back towards Evandro, who slides it wide to the far side, overhits it, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. It's rather off-putting here at times with the whistles continuing from the crowd, because you think that Simon Hooper's made the decision and it's not him. And the stewards, who cleared away all of the sponge tennis balls at half-time, are now looking to go into the crowd, I think, behind that goal away to our left, and possibly sort out those blowing the whistles, as Sharp looks to fasten onto a long ball forward. Billy Sharp with a low effort towards the near post, blocked by the body of McGregor, and it spins behind for a corner.
Great play by Billy Sharp, out of nothing really, forces the error at the back. I think he cuts across Dawson, gets his body in so he can't tackle him. It's a good save at the near post by McGregor. I think he was under pressure from Aina, but if I'd have struck that back across into the far corner, I don't think the goalkeeper would have had much of a chance. But good break by Sharp.
And there are more stewards and police heading in towards the area behind the goal, which Sheffield United are currently attacking away to our left. Fleck swings in the corner, high towards the near post, headed away as far as Baldock, who does well to loft it back up wide towards the right-hand side again. The whistles continue to come from the crowd as Fleck finds Basham. He's challenged by Larson. It's a poor ball in field from Basham. It's cut out well by Bowen, and Hull City will look to try and build again. A long ball forward, looking for Diamande or Dicko. It finds neither, and the white shirts of Sheffield United recover, and they will try and break. There are a huge number of police and stewards now looking at the Hull City supporters behind that goal, and I think they are trying to find the phantom whistlers, or maybe they have an inkling of something which may have been planned in the second half. As Baldock comes forward now for Sheffield United, challenged by Clark, but here is Basham now, and Diamande does well to come back defensively and make the challenge at the expense of a throw-in.
Yeah, I can't help but think that it's the end that Sheffield United are attacking now, Nigel, and I think if the Blades score, then I think that could be a tinderbox that goes up, but there's a big police presence now at the back of that goal. It's not what you want to see.
There's a line of police and a line of stewards, and they are all facing away from the pitch, looking at the Hull City supporters, and the Sheffield United fans are beyond them, grouped around the corner flag on the far side. Of course, they have their stewards and police between the Hull fans and the Sheffield United fans, but really the onus is not on any potential confrontation between the supporters, as Sharp tries to cross in from the right hand side, and it's plucked out of the cold night sky here by McGregor.
I think the story of this second half so far has just been been Hull City containing the Sheffield United side going forward. They've looked far more positive, Sheffield. They've got a better shape to them, they've moved the ball about the pitch better, they've switched play.
But now Dicko, 25 yards from goal, right foot shot from him, forces a fine save from Blackman, going down to his right hand side to palm the ball behind.
Just as we're saying that, Hull City go down the other end and nearly score, but he's been a real threat all this game. I know Dicko, and we know he's got real quality. We've seen that all the way through his career. And it's a snapshot, it's a fantastic save, to be fair, from Blackman, because it's going away from him to his right hand side, and he goes full stretch across the goal and tips it round the post.
54 minutes played on Talk Sport 2. Hull City 0, Sheffield United 0. And it's a corner for Hull City, wide on the far side, their left. Everybody back for Sheffield United defending. It's in towards that near post area and volleyed towards goal from Evandro. He misses his kick, but it comes to Bowen, and now Dicko scores! New Dicko gives Hull City the lead, and it could be a massive goal in their battle against back-to-back relegations. Sheffield United unable to clear the corner, and Dicko was there to pick up the pieces, and in the midst of all the protests, Hull City take the lead.
Well, to be fair, the one player that's shown the real quality and the desire to get into that Sheffield United penalty box, Dicko, has broke the scoring, and it's a fantastic strike. It's a good bit of play, because what they do is they keep the ball alive in the box. It's not the best corner, but they managed to get onto the second ball, keep the ball alive, and it's a great little slide pass that picks him out. I don't know if it's it looked like Diamande that picked him out, but it's a good little slide pass, and it's a great finish.
And there is now a disturbance behind the goal away to our left-hand side. It may have been the Hull City supporters celebrating that goal, but there are stewards and police currently trying to force the Hull City supporters back behind that barrier, and there is a huge gathering of the security forces now, and there is fighting between the Hull City fans and the police and the stewards. A couple of fans have been carted away from that north stand away to our left-hand side. There are 3 policemen currently escorting a Hull City supporter away behind the tunnel beneath us here. And in the midst of the celebrations, the ugly side of Hull City's protests comes quickly to the fore once again.
Yeah, it's such a shame, because, to be fair to the players, the Hull City players, they've put a real shift in. They've denied the Sheffield United side at every turn.
Now Clark at the other end tries to head it forward, looking for Billy Sharp, and Hull City, of course, now have something to hold on to. Noah Dicko really deserved that goal for his persistence and his often lone running. Now Bowen away down the right-hand side, twisting and turning, but he had 4 Sheffield United players between himself and Dicko, but sliding in to win it back was Diamande. But Sheffield United have it with Leonard. Wide towards the far side now, and Baldock. Clark takes over, and I think the Blades need to see more of Leon Clark as the focal point of their attack. He is drifting wide on a number of occasions.
Yeah, they look better when they play together as a pair, and they play the width of the penalty box. You don't really want him running in the channels and getting down the sides. Yeah, he's going to have to do it every now and again, but when they do play the width of the box and they link up together, that understanding that they've got, they look really dangerous.
The ill feeling persisting between the Hull supporters and the stewards behind the goal away to our left, as Basham now finds space for Sheffield United, drives it across the 6-yard area, but there's an excellent smothering challenge by McDonald, and it's a corner to Sheffield United.
I tell you, they've defended well, Hull City. They've got bodies in the way, they've blocked, they've covered the key areas. Just looked at McGregor there, the goalkeeper, remonstrating with his back 3 and his 2 wing backs.
The corner swung in towards that near post area, but it's another poor delivery from Fleck. Doesn't beat the first man, and Jackson Irvine, legs pumping over the halfway line now for Hull City. Down the left-hand side, Dicko makes the run ahead of him, but it's back in field towards Larson, but a good cross-field ball from him. Aina has so much space down the right now to try and attack the penalty area. He's got O'Connell back-pedalling, but O'Connell eventually lunges in to make the challenge, and it's a corner to Hull. 15,213 the crowd here. Thank you, Sag. So not quite the lowest of the season, and in fact a goal kick has been given in the end to Sheffield United, who now trail in this game with 58 minutes played. And it seems at times, Neil, that nobody wants the final playoff place in the Championship, but as soon as the side gets up there or has the opportunity to get into the top 6, they tend to lose and fall back again.
But isn't this the beauty of the Championship, where you've got sides that are scrapping for points at the bottom, start picking results up, and I think it just makes for the theatre of it. And I'll tell you what's really interesting at this moment in time, how the vast majority of the whole crowd now have concentrating on the game of football. Now they're 1-0 up.
It's played forward by Stearman, flicked on by Clark, but Aina, who's had a good game, does well to clear the ball away again up towards the halfway line as another sponge tennis ball lands inside Alan McGregor's 6-yard area. As Hull City look to build on their lead, and it could be such an important lead as well. Currently outside the bottom three on goal difference only. And this would really put the pressure on other sides playing tomorrow. Birmingham against Barnsley is a huge game at the bottom of the table, 3 o'clock tomorrow. And of course there'll be news of all the goals as they go in over on Talk Sport in Matchday Live. And what about that North East derby as well? Sunderland against Middlesbrough. And if Sunderland don't start winning soon, they will be cut adrift at the bottom. And we'll be looking ahead to all of the big games in the Championship and beyond following this game up till 10 o'clock here on TalkSport 2 before Andy Brassel and Nat Coombs with the European Football Show. Now Baldock for Sheffield United, finding Evans. And there's an opportunity for Stearman to maybe come out from the back, and he's found Evans again. The early ball forward will try and find Clark inside the penalty area. He comes back in field and the whistle goes, and Clark thought, as he was challenged by Aina, he had been penalised, but it was a whistle from the crowd.
Yeah, they've got to do something about that, because there's a couple of occasions now where players have slowed up a little bit. Honestly, it's not what you want to see.
Well, you can hear that whistle again, and the stewards are trying to root out whoever it is in the North Stand. And with an hour played, at times this game has been played with a rather farcical backdrop. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0, but such an important game at both ends of the table. Now Evandro for Hull, midway inside the Sheffield United half. Wide to the far side, and Clark. Diamande given the opportunity to twist and turn, and he has found Irvine. And now Aina down the right hand side. Bowen peels away to the right to try and create the space for Aina to run into, and he takes the opportunity, the cross into the area, and the header from Dicko is palmed up into the air by Blackman and gathered at the second attempt. In fact, it was Diamande with the effort.
Yeah, he's another person that's another player that's impressed tonight. Aina from his right back slot has got forward well, played with quality. Great ball into the box there, and it's a good effort from Diamande. Cut across his defender and steered that onto the goal. To be fair to Blackman, he has to take it at the second attempt. But they've just lost away a little bit here, Sheffield United.
And the scampering figure of Baldock looks to head towards the penalty area, wide towards the far side. But they're creating angles but not really making the most of any opportunities. Basham now steps offside as another move is delayed down the left, and as a result Diamande is able to make the challenge, and it's only a throw-in for Sheffield United, and they are about to make a change. Both teams are about to make a change. The first one for Sheffield United, and it's Ryan Leonard who will come off and Mark Duffy who will come on.
Well, I think we said right at the start of the show that we would see Duffy at some point, because he is a real quality performer for the Blades, and he gives them that energy going forward. I'm sure he'll pick that 10 slot up and play just in behind the front two.
And for the home side, Kamil Grzycki will replace Adama Diamande.
That's an interesting one, because I just look at Seb Larsson, and he's not been moving the best for the last 5-10 minutes. He's got a bit of a limp, took a little bit of a whack, but it's important to Hull City that he stays on. I think he's performed well tonight.
Well, Diamande, who has made only his second start of the season, rather milking the applause as he heads towards this near side. But there is still a long time to play in this game. 63 minutes. And Hull lead by a goal to nil. And it looks like, well, we say this every season, but it could be a very low points total to survive this season. Of course, Blackburn went down with 51 points 12 months ago. As a whistle goes again, as Baldock plays the cross into the penalty area, but it was blocked by Irvine, and it will be a corner for Sheffield United, and the delivery's got to be better this time.
Yeah, it has. I mean, it's usually good quality, but not tonight.
And the corner is deep, looking for Stearman, but McDonald was rising, and it's he who got the touch, and it will be another corner now for Sheffield United. We're looking to build up some pressure and recover their one-goal deficit. The corner is a lot deeper. It's O'Connell who was challenging, but too deep for him. Fleck does well to win it back. A high cross back towards the far post, nodded down by Clark, and then Stearman challenges. He goes down, and the referee, Simon Hooper, very quick to say no penalty.
Yeah, it looked like he was looking for it, to be honest with you. I think if it had just gone down under a natural challenge, he might have got something there.
And Dicko toiling manfully down this near side again, just holds the ball up and ensures that Hull City win the throw-in. And Aina will take it, and I agree with Neil, he has been one of the standout performers for Hull City this evening, both defensively and moving forward. And now Clark tries to roll the challenge of McDonald and fouled him as he did so, and it will be a free kick to Hull City midway inside their own half. And both managers now very animated inside their technical area, because we are approaching the business end of the season. The games are starting to run out. There'll be 13 games left after this one, and around the Easter period they come thick and fast as well. You can either make or break your ambitions for the 12 months. McGregor with the free kick, lofted high, looking for Dicker, who does well to win the header again. Bowen was rather caught underneath the ball, so Stevens is able to clear, but Sheffield United will win it back. And there's a rather clever free kick given away there, I think, by Evandro on Fleck, just ensuring that the midfielder wouldn't go beyond him, and Sheffield United have the free kick on halfway.
It's amazing, isn't it, what a goal does. It just seems to have breathed a little bit more life into this Hull City side. They look like they've got more of a spring in the step. They're believing in the system and the game plan now, what they're supposed to do. They've got something to hang on to. It's just made it that more harder now for Sheffield United.
O'Connell's free kick headed away by Dawson, unchallenged inside the area. Duffy tries to win it back, but Hull are able to clear again, and Dicko does well to control the ball in his thigh and lay it wide to this near side, the right, and Aina, who comes over halfway, has Bowen ahead of him, but Aina chooses to come in field on this occasion. If the ball had been gathered by Evandro, he would have had the opportunity to shoot, but in the event, here is Dicko with a low right-footed shot, which was in the trundling category, and it's gathered by Blackman.
Managed to fashion a shot at goal again, though. Dicko, he's performed ever so well tonight. He's played that lone striker role brilliantly, and he's had spasmodic support from Evandro. Probably liked a little bit more, to be honest, but that might be in keeping with Hull City's game plan of keeping things tight in midfield.
Fleck infield towards Evans again. And his ball forward does not pick out the run of Sharp, and Hull City have been crisper in the tackle on what is now a very crisp evening. Now Bowen back towards Aina, and I think Aina was looking for Bowen to have made the run and spun in behind there, but he didn't do it. He stayed where he was, so as a result it was lumped in the general direction of Dicko, and it's gathered by Blackman, the goalkeeper.
Yeah, I think you'd just like to think that we'll be seeing Donaldson at some point and just look a little bit leggy.
But here is Clark, who is beaten to it by McDonald on the edge of the penalty area, but Evans has done well to pick out Duffy. There's a run wide on the far side, which is Baldock on the overlap. The cross into the 6-yard area maybe took a deflection, and as a result it's gathered by McDonald, who quickly bowls it out towards this near side, and Bowen's got the opportunity to step over the ball twice and go beyond Fleck, but he doesn't manage it, and Fleck now working hard burrows his way up towards the edge of the penalty area, but again Leon Clark has not been picked out. McDonald is able to clear. Now Evandro, felled by Baldock, but Jackson Irvine has the opportunity to bring it forward now for Hull down the right, but checks back in field to find Bowen. Larson again wide towards Irvine. Dicko on the edge of the penalty area, and Hull City being very patient here as they try and get bodies forward. And we still have 22 minutes to play in this game. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0 on TalkSport 2. Grzycki, well, he could be the X factor, a bit of pace in the wide areas, but not on this occasion down the left, as the pass was overhit and it's a throw into Sheffield United.
But again, it was a good bit of inventiveness. I think it's from Larson again. He's got good knowledge of his position and his understanding of what's needed.
Dicko on the edge of the penalty area, sliding in was O'Connell. Really cleaned him out, but he won the ball. But now there's a poor ball played forward by Evans, who has often struggled to find his range with the passing tonight, and it's clipped forward looking for Grzycki again, left hand side of the penalty area. Dicko was looking for the pullback, but the crossing has been blocked by Basham. Duffy pressurised in the midfield area, but he's found Fleck, but his low ball forward up towards the halfway line intended for Clark is easily cut out by Max Clark. And Grzycki, the Polish international, once again chooses to check back and find McDonald, and here is Dawson. And Hull City continue to be methodical here in their pursuit of maybe a second goal, but more likely holding on to the one they've scored. 20 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Hull heading 3 points clear of the relegation zone, and Sheffield United will remain outside the playoff places. Aina found by Larsson on this near side, the right, and now Bowen has the opportunity to cross in, but instead finds Aina again, and already Hull City are choosing to be rather cautious around the penalty area until Aina's cross is way too deep, and Baldock will allow the ball to run out of play for a throw-in.
Yeah, they've just run out of steam a little bit here, Sheffield United. I think if I were Chris Wilder, I'd be looking to freshen it up a little bit, maybe change one of the front two. They've grafted ever so well, the front two, but had a little change out of Dawson in particular at the back. I think he's been immense for Hull City, showing all his quality as an experienced centre-back.
Poor ball out from Sheffield United. Here is Grzycki down the left-hand side. He's gone beyond Basham. Can he deliver the cross? He can, but it's volleyed clear by Fleck. But Clark now quickly controls a low ball back into the penalty area. Avandro is able to gather, but the ball just ricochets away from both him and Dicko, and Sheffield United will be able to clear as the wind picks up once again inside the KCOM Stadium. Fraser Campbell will be coming on shortly for Hull City. Now Baldock didn't have too many options ahead of him. Evans wide towards the far side, and Basham, and here is Baldock once again. Leon Clark makes the run down the line, and he's offside, and that must infuriate managers.
Yeah, it's a lazy run, because he's got the pace to get onto that anyway. You know, he could have given the defender 5 yard start and got onto that, but goals early, easy free kick, offside.
And it's Nua Dicko who is coming off.
Well, that is surprising, because he has been the game's outstanding player, I think, to be honest with you, along with his mate at right back, Aina, for Hull City. Might be looking at some fresh legs, I don't know.
And Fraser Campbell comes on. Only 5 goals so far this season, and he's not scored in his last 11 games. The former Manchester United man. But Nua Dicko did not look like a player who was lacking legs, did he?
No, I thought he's looked a real threat all the game, and they've looked uncomfortable with him. The Sheffield United back three. It's a strange one, that one, but you know, he has got quality, Fraser Campbell. We know he's got what he's all about. Give him a chance in front of goal, you know, he can finish.
John Lundstrom will be coming on shortly for Sheffield United, another midfielder. Maybe they need a striker. But here is an opportunity for Sheffield United to try and build again with Stearman. Now O'Connell, and they're just beginning to run out of time. 17 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0. Nua Dicko with the only goal so far, and the team in danger of relegation are ahead against the side looking for a playoff place. But now there's an opportunity for Baldock to make a chase into the penalty area, but it's cleared, quickly returned by Clark towards Basham, but it's just not happening for Sheffield United in this second half. And they've had just a few games like this in the second half of the season where they've looked good at times, but it's just drifted away from them.
Yeah, I mean, they've used variety of personnel in that central midfield area, but I think they've got a certain setup that seems to work better than others, and I think that they've maybe diluted themselves a little bit in that area tonight. I'm not saying which personnel, but they do look a little bit leggy and a little bit sluggish in there, where they've had that zip and that aggression and they've got about people. They've not had that tonight. And to be fair, I think to Hull City, they've sort of contained Sheffield United quite well in that midfield area.
Well, Lee Evans has come off, replaced by John Lundstrom, who scored in the win against Queen's Park Rangers. Clark hooks away from Leon Clark on the far side for Hull City. Then he's asked to scamper by the ball back to him from Larsson, but he's done well to clear. Fraser Campbell now leading the attack for Hull City. Closes down Jamal Blackman, who was unable to pick the ball up and did well to sidestep him. And now Sheffield United have it down this near side there left. Long and high, looking for Billy Sharp, but it just strikes the shoulder of Aina and goes out of play for a throw-in to Sheffield United. A look at the watch. Just over 15 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0. And on a rather acrimonious night inside the KCOM Stadium, Hull are inching towards a crucial victory, which would only be their third under Nigel Adkins in the league. A poor ball played wide towards Duffy on this near side. It's cut out by Campbell, and here is Bowen finding Aina. And now Dawson, who chooses to go back towards his goalkeeper McGregor with Leon Clark in the vicinity, but McGregor does well to clear downfield once again, and then Dawson rises high to nod it over the top, and he was caught by Duffy as he did so it's a free kick to Hull City.
I'll tell you what, he's looked what he is tonight, Dawson. A class act. He's a vastly experienced centre half. I think he's organised well. He's pulled bodies round him well. And I think he's been a real presence in the heart of the defence there for Hull City.
And it's Dawson who takes the free kick to find Irvin. And now Aina back towards Irvin again. And it's a neat triangle from Hull City, but they've not really gone anywhere until it's just booted long downfield by Dawson beyond Evandro, and it's a throw into Sheffield United. And the atmosphere has been rather deadened inside the KCOM Stadium once again. The home side, I think, are fairly nervous, the home supporters, because they know just how important this win could be. As Hull prepare to make another change late in the game. Kevin Stewart, the former Liverpool man, will be coming on. And it's Evandro who comes off.
Yeah, he's shown some nice neat touches, Evandro. I think he's been more of a cameo role than a real presence, but he's obviously got good feet and good quality. I think they've just lost a little bit of something with Dicko going off Hull City here. They've lost a little bit of that dynamic going forward.
And Kevin Stewart, who was bought from Liverpool for £8 million in the Premier League days, and he will just come on now to try and shore up the midfield. So I think Jackson Irvine may try and play off Fraser Campbell, but in more likelihood Campbell will be on his own up front.
Yeah, I think that's more of an assurity than an attacking ploy.
Here's Duffy. A nice ball round the corner for Sheffield United to pick out Ender Stevens on this near side, the left, but there's not really been too much incisiveness about the Sheffield United passing in the second half. As Stearman finds O'Connell, Nigel Adkins urging his team to keep working and keep pressing as high up the field as they can. It's won back by Bowen, and now Campbell finding Stewart on this near side, the right, but Duffy, who initially lost the ball, does well to come back and win it back. Fleck now for Sheffield United. He's got both Sharp and Clark running ahead of him, but he plays a short ball and a difficult ball for Stevens, but Stevens does well to at least create the challenge to try and win the ball back. But now Leon Clark has given the ball away himself, and it's all very scrappy. Bowen with the early ball forward. It was Grzycki making the run down the centre, but it's beyond him and it bounces into the arms of Jamal Blackman. Now wide on the right hand side, Sheffield United look to build with 11.5 minutes to play, and Hull City still lead by a goal to nil. And if Sheffield United lose this game, they'll be looking at the other sides around them in the top six, hoping for favours from elsewhere tomorrow. Fulham are at home to Wolves in the late game. That should be an absolute cracker. Looking forward to covering that one. Cardiff, of course, at home to Bristol City on Sunday, live on TalkSport 2. Derby go to Reading, and Villa are at Sheffield Wednesday tomorrow. Now Fleck with a ball infield to find Leon Clark. Duffy with a good ball wide to the far side, the right, and Bulldog, who controls and finds Basham on his outside. Basham with a low ball in towards the near post area, and McDonald did not get a shout to say that Sharp was behind him, or maybe he was confused by the whistle from the crowd.
Yeah, and it happened just before as well. It's don't know what they can do about it.
Well, if you're a Hull fan doing that is absolutely mindless, because you could cost your team a goal.
Well, they sliced that ball at his own goal, McDonald. As that ball came in, and
well, the whistles go again as the corner is played in, and Lundstrom heads it behind, and there is nothing the referee can do.
No.
Really, there is nothing the stewards can do, but it has affected the game at times.
It has, yeah. There's been 2 or 3 instances where players have slowed up or nearly stopped. I mean, thankfully it hasn't led to a goal, but...
Well, there is going to be the change, which may be overdue, for Sheffield United. Clayton Donaldson coming on and Chris Basham coming off. Basham has not been the worst for Sheffield United tonight, and he does give you that versatility. But it's presumably going to be 3 up front.
Yeah, it's like 3-4-3, is it? We've got to go back 4.
So 3, it's like 4-2-1-3. Yeah. Somebody shouted house there at home.
You were thinking it now, didn't you?
Yeah. 9 minutes to play. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0 at the KCOM Stadium on TalkSport 2. Don't forget, tomorrow in the Premier League, Bournemouth against Newcastle at 3 o'clock over on TalkSport at 5:30. Following Matchday Live with Adrian Durham, it is Watford against Everton. Then a triple header across the network on Sunday. Cardiff Bristol City with Daniel Gabardon and myself. TalkSport 2 from noon. Then it's Manchester United against Chelsea on TalkSport at just after 2 o'clock. And the Carabao Cup final at 4:30. That is Arsenal against Manchester City. On the far side, Max Clark looking to just waste a bit of time for Hull City. And he's played the ball off Baldock, and it will be a throw-in to Hull City.
You see, you can't help but thinking that in Hull City's game plan, this goal that's gone in, nothing's going to change. They're not going to come out of these 2 banks of 4. They've made it difficult for Sheffield United all night. They've got the noses in front. It's from Nigel Atkins' point of view, it's worked a treat.
And there's a missed kick on the far side by Baldock, and he slices the ball straight out of play, and it will be another throw-in to Hull City, and this will just eat up the clock for them. Headed in field by Campbell, looking for Irvine, who seemed to be caught around the face by a Sheffield United player, but the Blades win it back, and there's a ball played right across the field from one wing back to another. Baldock to Stevens, but it was overhit, and it just dribbles out of play, and it will be a throw-in for Hull City. And Chris Wilder is keen that Aynett gets on with things, but of course Hull City are not in the mood to hurry. The throw-in is eventually taken, and it comes to nothing, but then Lundstrom loses out to Irvine, and the shot from Grzycki from long range. He went for the Big Dipper. He was looking for the ball to come down quickly enough. It didn't do so, and it's a goal kick.
I tell you what, he's looked lively since he's come on. Very bright, got an eye for goal, looks to run in behind. Looked a real threat.
An Alam out banner has been draped over the advertising hoardings on the far side once again. Sheffield United strive for the equalising goal, but it won't come on this occasion as Fraser Campbell fights for possession with O'Connell, but O'Connell's done well to launch it down the line on this near side, but Aynett rises above Duffy to head the ball clear, and it has become a really attritional game with 6.5 minutes to play on TalkSport 2. The result much more important than the performance on a night like tonight, and Nigel Atkins is kicking every single ball. He's always appeared to be a manager who doesn't leave anything to chance, and that seems to have been the case here tonight. And his team have won the ball back on the far side with Irvine. Infield towards Larsson, back towards the Australian once again. Then the back heel from Grzycki. Larsson finds Grzycki, who has been caught, and it will be a free kick. Lundstrom with the foul. A free kick to Hull City wide on the far side, the left.
That's a great bit of play. 2 or 3 little given goals there that Sheffield United couldn't live with. And again, Grzycki involved right in the middle of it. Got good game craft.
And this could be such a big week for Hull City. Barnsley are here on Tuesday, and that is an absolutely massive game. Barnsley will be 3 points behind Hull City inside the relegation zone if the Tigers win this game. Grzycki from the free kick looks to win a throw on the far side, but in the end he does so, and Hull City have Sheffield United exactly where they want them.
It's really apparent now, Nigel, that as soon as the goal goes in, the belief in the game plan of what they're trying to do, it just grows and grows and grows, and they just dig their heels in here, Hull City, and they're making it really, really difficult for Sheffield United.
And you spoke before the game about the identity that Sheffield United have had for much of the season. Tonight, they've not had one.
But no, it doesn't. It lacks energy. The performance lacks energy. In fact, you don't want to say it, but it does. It looks a little bit tired, if anything. These players have given a real shift to get this far this season, done ever so well from getting promoted and had that momentum and gone on and won games. But this just looks a game too far for them tonight.
And they do have players that can be a bit samey at times, don't they? I mean, the midfield area, he left out Lundstram and Duffy tonight, then brought them on.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm all for rotating and giving players a breather if they need a breather, but I think sometimes you just got to pick your best team and let them go on with it.
Another move breaks down for Sheffield United. Grzycki tries to bring it forward for Hull, but the Blades win it back on the far side with Baldock. He has Duffy in support. Baldock, though, looks to skip away from the challenge of Larsson, but Clark just steps in and will try and shepherd the ball behind, and he's done so. And it's a goal kick in the end, and there's just a confrontation between Clark, Baldock and Larsson. McGregor, who often has a short fuse, comes across to have a say as well. A couple of sponge tennis balls are thrown onto the playing area, and it's a goal kick.
Well, it's silly from Clark, because what he's done ever so well, because he's shepherded the ball over the line for the goal kick. He's held Baldock off, and he's not going to pat him on the back, shake his hand and say well done, Baldock. He's aggrieved by it, doesn't need to react, just needs to get away and get on with his game. They're in a great position at this moment in time, Hull.
And McGregor will take the goal kick, and we have 3 minutes of normal time to play on TalkSport 2. Hull 1, Sheffield United 0 remains the scoreline. Donaldson flicks in field looking for Leon Clark, but it's headed away by Dawson. But Clark will try and win the ball back, but it's Stewart who just launches it long downfield again. It's gathered down this near side by Fleck, but O'Connell then tries to play it forward. And Sheffield United are not playing the ball around with any real conviction, it has to be said. O'Connell again, just hopeful high ball, looking for Billy Sharp, who has barely had a touch in the second half. But here is Fraser Campbell for Hull City, and he breaks a couple of challenges, and he's away down the right hand side. The early ball in, looking for Grzycki, who tried just to flick the ball with the inside of his left foot across the face of goal and in at the far post, but he failed to make contact in the end.
Yeah, it's a difficult skill. He's running across the line in the ball and trying to guide it into the far corner. Doesn't make a big enough contact, Grzycki, but it's a great burst, to be fair. It's unlucky.
Stearman, now under pressure from Irvine on the far side, does well to bob and weave and eventually find Jamal Blackman. Inside the 89th minute now. Dawson again rises to head clear above Leon Clark. It'll break towards O'Connell, but he has to go all the way back towards his goalkeeper, Blackman. 5 in a line forward now for Sheffield United. Leon Clark will jump with Dawson, neither wins the header. It comes towards Stevens, it's a decent ball across the penalty area, but Clayton Donaldson unable to rise and head the ball in, but it's recycled by Lundstram. He has found Baldock down the right, and now Baldock's ball forward was cut out by Larsson with the use of a hand, and it's a free kick to Sheffield United.
I tell you what, these are the moments, Sheffield United, whether you find out whether you're a lucky side or not, because they've probably not done enough tonight to get anything out of this game, but if they get something from this, it would really break these Hull City hearts, because they've put a shift in, they've stuck to the game plan, they've made it difficult for Sheffield, but at 1-0 you're vulnerable.
Duffy is over the free kick on the far side, about 20 yards from the byline. down the Sheffield United right. 30 seconds of normal time to play. Duffy's free kick swirls high to the far post. Stearman knocks it back in field. It's cleared away as far as O'Connell, who tries to clip it back, and now Fleck flicks it into the penalty area. A backheader towards Billy Sharp, who's unable to control. The whistles again come from the crowd, but this time neither set of players are distracted by it, and Hull City clear, and it's a throw-in on the halfway line for Sheffield United.
Again, great example of every hand to the pump, getting bodies in the way, blocking and making it difficult. They've really scrapped for this 3 points, the Tigers.
3 minutes of added time will be played. Evandro has been given the man of the match. Evandro!
Wow. Well, it's in keeping with the surreal
yes.
night, isn't it?
Well, that does surprise me. I think in the Hull City team there have probably been 6 or 7 contenders ahead of him.
Yeah.
Anyway, a high ball played forward again for Sheffield United. Duffy this time uses his hand to control it, and it will be a free kick for Hull City, and they will take their time.
Yeah, it's just not been Sheffield United's night, has it? You know, he's a real consistent performer, Duffy, but he's looked as bogged down as everybody else since he's come off the bench.
Well, of course, there is always time to recover in the Championship, and Sheffield United will go to Reading on Tuesday, and it's the sort of game they will need to win between now and the end of the season. As McGregor clears downfield again, and we will be at the Riverside Stadium next Friday on TalkSport 2 for Borough against Leeds. Middlesbrough, another side looking to climb into the playoff places, and Leeds yet again are in transition. Blackman with a long ball downfield. It's just hoofed clear by Ola Aina on the halfway line, and it breaks to Grzycki, and the Pole can burst into the penalty area. He's got a man over, and all he had to do was knock it square to Fraser Campbell. There's now a rugby scrum on the edge of the penalty area as O'Connell challenges him, and O'Connell has got the free kick. I'm not too sure why, but they make nothing of it, Sheffield United, and it's a throw-in to Hull City on the far side.
It was actually a fantastic challenge from O'Connell, because if he got that wrong, that would have been, well, it was right on the edge of the box. I mean, if he'd have touched that ball past him and gone down in the box, you don't know, but should have done better with that, Grzycki.
Well, it's a throw-in for Hull City, and we are inside the final minute of added time at the end of this game. Grzycki again down the left. Campbell makes the run down the centre. Stearman is drawn towards the ball. Here is Fraser Campbell. Well, his first touch was rather heavy, and as a result the ball evaded his grasp, and Blackman is able to clear downfield for Sheffield United. Maybe one final time. Billy Sharp losing out to Aina. Bowen now running the ball clear for Hull City, but he runs into Stevens. Back towards Aina again. Flighted down the line, and Bowen will just try and head towards the corner flag. O'Connell though has won it back, and he ricochets the ball off Bowen, and it will be a throw-in to Sheffield United, but they're at the wrong end of the field here, and time is against them.
Great game management by him.
And that is it. And the Hull City supporters can celebrate an absolutely crucial victory. They move 3 points clear of the relegation zone. Nua Dicko with the only goal early in the second half. And on the night of protests and acrimony, the Tigers have come up with the result. Hull City 1, Sheffield United 0.